So this week we have another casualty of war, and as most of you have read, W.J. Bradley has decided to call it quits, and shortly after the news broke, reports started rolling in blaming TRID and other regulatory changes for their demise. This is yet another casualty, and sadly enough, I don't think it'll be the last one. The current lending environment has claimed small banks, credit unions, and mortgage lenders alike, all shutting their doors for various reasons, but in general, they just could not comply with all the new rules and regulations. If one is an incident, and two is a coincidence, and three is a pattern, then what's happening right now is a theme or trend, I guess. Either way, consumer lending options are being limited at an alarming pace, and ironically enough, the know before you owe rule and really the entire intent of the CFPB is to promote a healthy lending environment and give consumers options. The problem is, we aren't seeing this. We're actually seeing the opposite. The industry is shrinking, and it doesn't take a genius to understand why. Heck, reports hit the internet this week that lender production profits are down 60% thanks to TRID. The MBA stating profitability dropped to $493 per loan in the last quarter of 2015. $493. Realtors, lenders, and anyone that has recently obtained a mortgage know just how difficult it really is to originate and close a loan nowadays. And if you owned a mortgage company, would you go through all of that just to make $493? I don't know. And hey, don't beat us up in the chat log below about that number being low. This came directly from the Mortgage Bankers Association. They also stated it cost roughly $7,700 just to originate a loan. And quote, personal productivity decreased to only 2.4 loans originated per production employee. It's pretty easy to see why credit unions, banks, and mortgage lenders are calling it quits when you see numbers like this. And in my opinion, it's not over. I believe we will see more failures and more mergers as the small and medium independent lenders and banks get squeezed out of the industry, leaving big banks and large mortgage lenders, which I don't believe was the intent of the Dodd-Frank rule nor the CFPB. But as we can all see, this is exactly what's happening right now. It has realtors and lenders and consumers up in arms right now, and rightfully so. Consumer protection and regulation is important, but a strength overdone can become a weakness, and this is exactly what's happening. Too much regulation is hurting the consumer, limiting options and driving up costs just to stay in business, which ultimately get passed down to the consumer. The rumblings are starting to be heard. Take a look at this one, which we have no affiliation with, by the way.
In short, Congress has made Mr. Cordray a dictator. And when it comes to the well-being and liberty of American consumers, he is not a particularly benevolent one. Congress must address this critical problem because Congress helped create the problem. It has outsourced much of its legislative authority to the executive branch in general and CFPB in particular. And in doing so, it's compromised our foundational principles of co-equal branches of government, checks and balances, due process, and justice for all. Congress must reclaim its Article I authority and reclaim it now. There's no better place to start than the CFPB, an agency that has abused its power that it never should have had in the first place. It is time to uphold our oath to the Constitution. It is time to strip the CFPB of its rulemaking authority and return it to the elected representatives of we, the people.
Now, I'm not saying that's the right or wrong answer here, but it is apparent that we have an issue. Prior to the Great Recession, things were too easy and credit flowed readily. Now, things are way too difficult and credit has tightened way too much. In both instances, the consumer is being hurt. We need to find a healthy balance, and we need to find it quickly. NAR, MBA, and MBA all need to be a part of the solution, and as members, we need to voice our opinions as to how we can find a healthy balance. What are your thoughts on the matter, and what are you guys seeing out there right now? Let us know down below, and we will see you guys next week.